Oh, do we have some very big updates on the Shanna Gardner slash Jared Bridigan murder for hire case? This is going to be some intense stuff. We're going to talk about some of the latest updates in this case in today's video. You will want to stick around for this one. So if you aren't familiar with the Jared Bridigan case, here's our nutshell for those who just didn't need to catch up on it. Jared Bridigan was a Microsoft executive. He had married Shanna Gardner in a very quick courtship. It sounds like she chased him, and they married quickly. It was a very bad marriage, very clearly. They had twins, boy-girl twins, and then they had a very contentious divorce that dragged on, especially with custody issues, because Shanna is part of the Stampin' Up! Fortune. Her parents, or her father and stepmother, are the founders of the Stampin' Up! Scrapbooking MLM. That right there should tell you a lot. And but yeah, they had this massive fortune. And side note, her father and stepmother got together as a result of an affair. So that's classy and great family history there. Great examples. During this contentious divorce proceedings, they were dragged through the mud. Her parents could then just drag it through for years and years and years and years. Jared remarried a wonderful woman. He had 2 small children with his new wife, Kristen. She has actually set up the Jared Bridigan Foundation that raises money to create these boxes named after her daughter, who was brought to a police station. And the idea is to provide comforting supplies, whether it's diapers, food, stuffed animals, or whatever, for small children who are at police stations before their loved ones can arrive. Because her daughter Bexley, alas, was in that situation. She was, I believe, about 2 years old when her father was gunned down in front of her. So what happened is Jared was dropping off the twins back to Shanna's house after his time with them. And then as he was driving away, there was a tire in the road. We now know it was placed there. He gets out of the car to move the tire, and that's when he was shot. He was ambushed and shot right in front of his child. The gunman, Henry Tenon, he was quickly arrested and confessed and said that it was a murder for hire. So Shanna had also remarried. Her new husband was Mario Fernandez Saldana, and Henry Tenon said that the 2 of them had hired him to take out Jared. So they were then arrested, and now they are facing those charges. He was killed February 16th of 2022. I have a whole playlist. You can go and watch some of the motions that have been brought forward. Shanna's lawyer, understandably being paid, bankrolled by her father and stepmother, is the same guy who got Casey Anthony off. So we'll leave it at that. That's who he is, and I've commented on him before. So that is the basic gist of the story as far as the basic charges go. A lot has happened in the last little bit regarding the case. First off, it's been very sad is that Shanna's parents, or father and stepmother, have been taking care of the twins, and they have not allowed Kristen, their stepmother, and mother of their 2 half-siblings, to see the half-siblings. So these poor twins have not had access to this other mother that they had in their lives, or their other siblings. And Shanna's parents now live in Washington State. All of this happened in Florida, where Kristen still lives. So they're literally almost as far apart as you can get in the continental US. Unfortunately, the court has awarded Shanna's parents full custody. The twins are now 12 years old. I believe they were about 9 when the death occurred. So we have a statement from both sets of grandparents. It says, as the grandparents of Liam and Abigail Bridigan, we, the Bridigans and Gardners, have used a cooperative approach to foster an environment that prioritizes the children's needs even in the face of challenging circumstances. That spirit of cooperation and collaboration led the parties to resolve the guardianship matter without the need for a trial. For both sets of grandparents, the proceedings were never about, quote, winning or, quote, losing, but about ensuring that the children's well-being remains paramount. Both parties are happy with what was settled on. Kristen, no surprise, has put out her own statement. This is as of this, all of this happened in December of 2024. She posted on the Justice for Jared B Instagram page. She said, quote, "My heart is heavier than usual this week. This isn't what Jared would have wanted, and it isn't what I want, but some things are out of my control / ability to influence or correct. My heart absolutely goes out to her." She continues, "Given the feelings I'm processing right now, I won't be responding to any questions or comments about it at this time. Thank you all, and FYI, I'm not part of the joint statement. Never will be." That's pretty powerful. Then she says, "Let's hope and pray justice is served in the criminal case, since it definitely wasn't served in this one." That's a pretty powerful statement, especially coming from someone who publicly has been very quiet and kind. She seems like just the sweetest, kindest person. So this is a very strong statement coming from her. A couple of weeks after that, still in December of 2024, both Shanna's attorneys, as well as Mario's attorneys and the prosecution, they all were kind of arguing that they needed more resources to get through the discovery, go through everything, analyze what's admissible, what's not, what needs to be redacted, because there has been all this hubbub about information that needs to be redacted, that we need a taint team to come in and decide what is attorney-to-client privilege, what we can actually use, and that they need all kinds of resources to do that, more than usual. Judge Kite has been trying to find a solution for that, but it seems to be an ongoing issue. There's been issues with this since summer of 2024. So this is nothing new, but they're working on it. She wants it to be not federal organizations doing it, but she wants it to be state, Florida law enforcement somehow working on that. Then we move forward a couple more weeks. We're into January of 2025, and there's some movement as far as what the penalty phase might be if we end up with guilty verdicts. There has been no motions filed for Mario related to the death penalty, which is on the table. Gardner's defense is trying to prevent the state from using the word, quote, recommendation to describe the jury's role in case it does reach the penalty phase, and saying that would mislead jurors somehow. In Florida, the law was recently changed. I believe it was a result of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas shooting situation there, where that shooter was given life instead of the death penalty because it wasn't a unanimous decision by the jury. It used to require a unanimous decision to get the death penalty. And because of that, hubbub, Florida law changed, and now it requires an 8-4 vote to recommend it. But the defense says that they shouldn't be held to that state law because it wasn't in place when all of this went down. So we shall see what happens with that. And we have a whole bunch of stuff about attorney-client privilege and blah, blah. There's so many emotions regarding that. They just continue to crop up. It's almost like a whack-a-mole situation. Now, here comes the big stuff. A couple of big things that happened in February 2025 that are concerning. Biggest one is Henry Tenon, the gunman. He had an appearance in court that actually happened in January, but all of this is just coming out now. His hearing was January 13th. The transcript of that hearing was very brief, and it wasn't sent to the defense for a couple of weeks. To clarify, that's the defense for Shanna and Mario. And then when they saw it, they went, whoa, I don't like this. So now they're wanting to have more discovery and all this stuff, and especially because Henry's next pretrial hearing is not till April. So here is the interesting part. I mean, they're just getting started on the pretrial hearing, and right in the middle of things, Tenon says, "Your Honor, may I say something?" And the judge says, "Talk to Mr. Chipperfield first." That means that's his lawyer. He says, "Tell him what you want to tell me, okay?" And then Tenon says, "I just want to bring to your attention that my testimony," and then she says, no. And he continues. He goes, "False testimony." Like, what now? And then Judge Kite goes, hold on. And the lawyer interrupts and says, "Mr. Tenon, we need to talk about that." But Tenon continues. He says, "I need another attorney." Judge Kite says, "Okay, let me pass it temporarily have a conversation with Mr. Chipperfield, then I'll have a conversation with you, Mr. Tennant, okay? This is direct transcript I'm reading here. He says, okay. So he exits the courtroom with his attorney, and then Judge Kite continues. She says, all right, on Henry Tennant, we're not going to bring him back out, which it sounded like she was going to, so who knows what happened in between. She says, I'm going to pass him until next week, January 22nd. January 22nd, 9 a.m., status hearing. And then the lawyer says, thank you. She says, thank you. And that was the end of that. That is huge because my understanding is that Shanna and Mario's cases are largely built on Tennant's confession and willing to cooperate and testify against the two of them. So that is putting a whole bunch of stuff up in the air now. Who the heck knows what's going to happen moving forward? This motion was put forth by Mario's attorneys. They want the discovery and information, anything else that happened, any memorandum, any other transcripts, anything that happened, more that they can learn about this whole situation, and Tennant potentially with retracting his confession. That's kind of intense stuff. So we'll see what happens with that. That's a little nerve-wracking. He said, my confession, false testimony, whatever. It was very brief and only snippets. It wasn't full sentences. So we don't really know what he was saying. Did Henry Tennant mean his own testimony was false? What did exactly he mean? We don't know, especially because the judge stopped him and said, you need to talk to your lawyer. And we're going to figure this out, get you a new lawyer, whatever needs to happen. That's the biggest shakeup, I think. But the most recent thing was more information that has come out about Shanna as an inmate. This is just lovely. So she actually has already divorced Mario and has long since left the LDS church. In fact, that was actually a huge source of contention. And she was making up some junk about, because Jared wanted the twins baptized. One of them actually asked to be baptized, which would be at age 8, and she was throwing a fit over. And if you know how the procedure goes, she was throwing a fit over things that he had no control over because of just the policies of where you attend church and who then has the authority to say, yes, you can get baptized and witnessing it and that kind of thing. That's kind of ridiculous what she was getting into. Apparently, she has been cited lots of citations as an inmate, which is cute. Drug possession, theft, disorderly conduct, possession of a makeshift tattooing instrument. And she has a new significant other. And despite this being a women's jail, she has found someone who she refers to as him, so I have to assume is a trans inmate. But in a letter dated to her sister, she says, I see so much good in him. He has a damaged soul. You know me and my broken things. She tries to fix broken people. Yeah. Referring to Mario and this new relationship, she says, I could be very good for him. But it's like a Mario situation. He would have to be willing to work hard to heal himself and not want me to fix him. And I'm thinking, just a thought. I don't think meeting someone in jail is necessarily going to be indicative of a successful relationship moving forward. Just a guess. Just, suspicion. I don't think that's going to work out well. Just, Oh, in this letter, she also says to her sister, marriage is really hard. Like, really hard. This is from last April, apparently. And she goes, I should note with 2 failed marriages. And I also wanted to go, do you know how hard it is? Because if you're now accused of offing your first ex-husband. So that's cute. Our corrections officers also noted, and this one is disturbing to me, she had hidden some fishing line under her bunk. Fishing line, that's dangerous stuff. That doesn't break easily. That could be used against someone in a violent fashion, and it's probably hard to see because it's kind of transparent. That's just kind of disturbing. Jail officials have said that they found other contraband, although they didn't define it further than that. She's been accused of stealing from another inmate, lying to staff, disorderly conduct. It's not a huge surprise to me that she is not exactly a model inmate, but I have a suspicion that she's probably guilty of all the things she's been written up for, and I don't imagine that she's going to get very far with some of these things. I believe Mario and Shanna are both going to have their trial at the same time, although with different lawyers representing them, and that is slated for October. So we'll have pretrial hearings, other case management things, but the final pretrial hearing for the moment, assuming we have no more delays, and who knows because of all of the redactions and the team and all that, the final pretrial hearing, in theory, will be October 13th, with a jury selection to begin 1 week later on October 20th. So that's where we stand right now. I suspect we will have more delays simply because of this whole Henry Tenon shakeup. That could put a whole new wrench into everything and everybody's strategies moving forward on both defense and prosecution. My heart goes out to Kristen and her two girls that she had with Jared. It sounds like he finally found someone that was right for him, and Shanna just made his life a living hell, from what I understand with the court documents. I have almost all of the court documents through their divorce. I haven't read through them all yet, but I plan to and report on some of that as we go along. I've been invested in this one since I first heard about it in 2022 when Jared was first gunned down. Let me know what you think in the comments. I would love to hear your opinions on what you think is going to happen, especially with the whole Henry Tenon thing and the potential false testimony allegations. That intense stuff. While you're in the comments, go ahead and drop yourself some chocolate emojis or your comfort food of choice. We have something to nosh on as we discuss all of these cases and all of the craziness that is going on there. Thank you for watching. Please give the video a like, subscribe if you're new, because that really helps people find this kind of information and this kind of content if this is what they're looking for. Share with your friends and all of that good stuff. And until next time, pass the chocolate.